Good evening, part-time Marketing 3 students. Welcome to the 7th lesson of Marketing 3. And as you can remember, we have done quite a lot of things so far this year, and the year is now kicking in full force. We have done lessons on the importance of consumer behavior. At first, we discussed the difference between a customer and a consumer to highlight why the emphasis and the focus is on the consumer, not on the customer, because the consumers actually use the products and the customers are the ones who pay for the product. We even used a lot of examples why consumers matter. We use an example of babies who use baby products such as nappies or powdered milk, formula. No matter the influence those nappies or the formula may have on the customer, who is the parent who may be buying the baby products, if those products are not syncing well with the body of the baby, they influence the decision that the customer decides otherwise and gets something else that is not reacting badly on their skins. So that's one of the examples that we used to differentiate customers from consumers, because the ultimate user is the one who has got an impact on a brand. Then we also had a look at customers being able to be consumers themselves. But a consumer can also be a customer, but they cannot resell the products. So those are things that we looked at. And we then looked at the value that we can create to the consumers, and those values may lead to customer certification and retention. We spoke about the types of values. We have got universal values, and you have got personal specific values that are further categorized into two. So we've got in-group specific personal values and individual specific personal values. Then we spoke about the needs and wants, because values are determined by how the needs or wants are satisfied with customers. So we say that the needs are those that you cannot survive with. We spoke about 5 basic needs, and we spoke about 2 other basic needs that we think they can arguably be identified as basic needs. We then spoke about wants, and we discussed that wants are things that we do not necessarily need, but want to have to satisfy our instant desires. So those are things that we spoke about when it comes to value. And then in lesson 5 and 6, we discussed that value can also be measured. You need to know the amount of value that you are giving to customers so that you can meet their expectations and exceed their expectations. Now we are moving on chapter 3, where we're going to talk about the factors influencing consumer behavior. So we are going to look at characteristics. This topic is very exciting, and I also hope that you are going to find it exciting. So the learning objectives are for this lesson. At the end of this lesson, you need to understand and explain the composition of the South African population in terms of age, gender, living area, education and literacy, the labor market and unemployment levels in the formal and informal sector. You also need to understand the composition of South African households in terms of housing, access to electricity, water sources, healthcare, and the possession of a telephone, as well as their monthly household income. So all these variables have got an impact. They influence the consumer behavior. When coming up with marketing strategies, we need to consider these variables. We can call them demographic variables because they look at things that do not change over time, but they can evolve over time. Things such as gender. Once you are born a female, you're a female. And once you are born a male, you're a male. Unless if there are deep technologies that you can use to alter your gender. Education as well. Once you have it, it's yours. Unless if you acquired it fraudulently, but you can always die with it. So realize that these things are static. They do not necessarily change, but they can evolve over time. The composition of the South African household is also necessary because it covers basic needs. So you need to know, for example, access to shelter, which is housing, how housing has got an impact on consumer decisions as well as marketing strategy. So the demographic characteristics of South African population, they are composed of the vital statistics such as their age, race, ethnicity, or location. So you realize that there are products that target specific age or specific race or ethnicity. Tribes such as being a Zulu or being a Pedi or being a Motswana. Then location also, there are some products that can be determined by location. So all these things, they also fall under market segmentation. You know, we can target people based on their age. We can target people based on their generation. So these things do matter. For example, if you are selling or marketing brands that specifically target a race, you need to consider the characteristics of that race. I'll give you an example of Millimil. If you are a brand representing White Star or Ace, you need to target the population that uses Millimil on a daily basis. And in this case, it will be the Black African, the Africans who eat pap or who use Millimil for porridge. So you can target them in your marketing messages. You need to know about their characteristics. You need to know about their behavior. You need to know when and how they save Millimil. Then we split it and start with individuals. So here we look at population. What significance does population have on marketing strategy and consumer behavior? So population matters because population patterns can determine the composition of a specific area. There's a reason why some organizations or some institutions are based in areas where there are specific patterns than others. So within population, we then look at the distribution of age. How many are the youths? How many are teenagers? How many are senior citizens? Then you segment consumers based on the distribution of the other thing that we focus on is physical distribution of the population. as well. You realize that Gauteng, for example, is becoming and some people are coming to the city to seek greener pastures and so on. So we need to take note of that. Then we must also look at the education levels. So education matter. And here, when we talk about education, we're talking about having acquired some form of qualification. And you've got a certificate to show that you've acquired some form of qualification within specific fields, be it having a matric certificate, be it having a diploma in specific industries. That's education. So education is different from literacy levels because you just need to be able to read and write. You do not necessarily have a specific academic qualification to show that you can read and write. So literacy also matters when it comes to consumer behavior, because there are some products that you can use that you can literally tell whether your customers can be able to read or to understand. Then we also look at the labor market. Labor market is very crucial because it also determines the household income, how people can afford the basic needs and the luxuries. You realize as you go through this lesson that labor market can also have an impact on the consumer price index. Then we look at something that has always been big in this country, something that is actually gaining some traction is unemployment. So the impact of unemployment on marketing activities can never be underestimated. Then we look at informal and formal sectors. So population, the definition of population is the number of people in a given area at a specific time. So the size of population of South Africa in 2016, it was estimated to be above 50 million. So I'm sure it has increased ever since then. Then there are approximately more females than male, the other gender, and uh, Black Africans cover almost 48 million. For 4.8, there's no way Black Africans they can be 4.8 million out of the 55. So it has to be 48 million there. Then the colored population, the white population, and the Asian population. It is vital for marketers to know the population patterns of a given area so that you actually you can measure how effective your marketing communication is. How many people are you reaching? And what is the composure of your target audience? So it is necessary to know the composition of a population within a given time and a given area. The reason why you must focus on a given time is because population grows and decreases within a certain period. So the population 5 years ago cannot be same because some people died and some people were born. So there's a video that you guys need to have to go and have a look at. The link is there on the lesson roadmap. If you go to Core Campus, you'll be able to get the link for this video. Now we look at life expectancy. So what is life expectancy? Life expectancy is actually the expiry date for human beings. So it is the number of humans are likely to live, to survive. The life expectancy differs with many countries. You realize that in some developed countries, especially Western countries like UK, the life expectancy is actually higher than countries in developing nations such as those that are in Africa. You would see